May 18th, and for those of you who are staying at home, I hope that you are able to join us on Zoom and do the core or one-day WODs. We are going to get started today with a Tabata warm-up. We've got 2 rounds of air squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and stink bugs. We realize that you guys know these movements. You've done them for a long time, and even if you're new with us, you've at least done them through this quarantine, and you know what they are now. So go ahead, get that warm-up done, and then we're moving on to a focused warm-up. So our focused warm-up is going to have 10 front squats, and we're going to actually start with a lightweight if possible. So we've got 10 front squats, 10 strict press, 10 thrusters, 10 overhead squats. Then if you can add weight, do that. If you can't, you're just going to stick with that WOD weight this entire time. We're just warming everything up. We're going to do 6 thrusters and 6 more overhead squats. From there, we're going to move on to the WOD. The WOD is, all right, we have for the core WOD, 2 AMRAPs with a 5-minute rest in between. So your first AMRAP is 5 minutes of 10 air squats and 10 sit-ups. Then you will rest for 5 minutes, and then you will do another 5-minute AMRAP of 10 push press and 10 bent over row. For our one-day WODers, you guys also have a 5-minute AMRAP to start of 21, 15, 9 overhead squats and V-ups, and then a 5-minute rest, and then another 5-minute AMRAP of a 15, 12, 9, so your rep scheme changes a little, of thrusters and atomic sit-ups. All right, we are going to have Brooke demo each of these movements for us, starting with our focused movements. So we're going to begin with front squats using that dumbbell. Starting in that front rack position, she's going to make sure she's keeping her chest upright. Elbows are going to stay forward as possible. She's going to initiate with her hips and drive all the way past parallel and come all the way back at typical hip extension, driving up through those heels. All right, she can do the same thing with a one arm in that front rack position as well, keeping her elbow up. And then she can do that with a kettlebell too. Exactly. Okay, moving on to strict press. We're not going to do this. Moving on to strict press. With that dumbbell in the front rack, she's going to keep her core nice and tight. Feet are going to be underneath her hips, and she's not going to dip for the strict press. So this is just a warm-up. So she is going to just press out overhead, keeping that weight very close to her body the entire time. Same thing with the kettlebell. All right, in the WOD, we will be doing push press. So she's going to go ahead and show us that push press so we can see the difference between a push press and a strict press. So with the push press, we're adding that dip. So she's going to dip by bending her knees and pushing them out instead of forward, and then using the power from her legs to get that weight out overhead. So her legs are like a spring, pushing that weight up. Okay, from there we're going to also do thrusters. So a thruster is a combination of the front squat and the push press. So she's going to be in that front rack position, squat stance. She's going to go all the way into her squat, past parallel, and then out overhead into that press. We want to make sure that we are alternating every other side when we do this. You don't have to alternate, you don't have to alternate every other side. You have to divide them up evenly. So you're going to do 5 on each side, at least for this focus warm-up. All right, and then we've got overhead squats. So these are a booger for a lot of us. So we're going to go out overhead with that dumbbell in a squat stance. So feet outside of hip width. Again, she's going to initiate with her hips, stabilizing her core and pressing all the way out overhead. We can do this too with the kettlebell We want to be very careful with that kettlebell. It has a tendency to pull our shoulder back. Okay, once you've done those overhead squats, we are going to go over some of the WOD elements that we still need to do. So first will be that bent over row. So Brooke is going to hinge at the hips, and then she's going to let her arm kind of drift over her foot, and she's going to bring that weight back to her sternum without pipping. So she's not using her hips, not bringing her chest up to get that weight up. That is not what we're doing. We're keeping everything nice and stable. Same thing with that dumbbell. Notice that her back is nice and straight and her knees are slightly bent. All right. And then we also are going to go over atomic sit-ups and V-ups. So for the atomic sit-up, we're going to be in a butterfly position. You'll need a weight for the atomic sit-up. So in a butterfly position, she's going to bring that weight all the way back behind her, touch the ground, and then bring it forward and touch the ground. You can work your lats more if you keep your arms out straight the entire time. Biceps more if you bend. All right, and then for the V-ups, she's going to start in that hollow hold position and then bringing her hands and her toes together in the middle. Okay, this is going to be a fun one, guys. I hope you enjoy it. The rep scheme is a little weird. That 21-15-9 and an AMRAP is an odd thing, but we're gonna see how it goes. Y'all enjoy.